The starters this week, and he should. I always say it this way: prove to me you can't do it. Prove to me you can't do it.
The Browns are catching serious heat this season, and the Flames got hotter after Shedeur Sanders was left out of their lineup. With both Sanders and Dillon Gabriel sitting sidelined, analysts are tearing into the Browns' decision-making, and the question hanging in the air is crystal clear. Why hasn't Shedeur Sanders been given his shot?
Starters this week, and he should. I always say it this way: prove to me you can't do it. Prove to me you can't do it.
The team keeps recycling the same tired excuse: rookies just aren't ready yet. But G. Bush ripped that logic apart in his latest commentary, throwing out a cutting question.
It's different for us. He's gonna say that, black players, we can't speak out like some of the white players. Nothing against the white players. It's not even about that. We both have the same struggles. I mean, we really do. So, it's just sometimes they want to make a statement, to show you that, you're not all that, I know they don't care for his dad. And I think Deion's a great guy. Deion tries to help these young men become men, not boys. And, I just felt like it was wrong what they did to him. I mean, look, Mel Kiper said in 30 years, he didn't see nothing like that.
Are these young quarterbacks, players like Sanders, supposed to be treated like fragile little flowers who can't handle a single hit? That's insulting not only to Sanders, but to every young athlete fighting for respect in the league. Is this really how the NFL wants to frame rising stars? Instead of celebrating fresh talent, the Browns seem dead set on keeping Sanders hidden in the shadows. And Bush didn't bite his tongue. He flat out mocked the narrative, calling it nothing more than a cover-up excuse for a team too scared to take a real risk. He insisted this isn't about patience, development, or timing. It's about choice. The Browns are choosing not to unleash Shedeur Sanders, and that's the real scandal. Fans and analysts are right to demand answers, because this silence reeks of something deeper. Why keep hiding behind excuses when Sanders has already proven he's ready to step up?
Grass or even in on the carpet where we have more space. So there's ways that we are trying to be creative, and it happens with each quarterback room in the whole league at all levels of football. You're just the guys that have to be ready to play, but also they're young, and so you want them to develop. And
why keep a weapon on the bench while the team struggles out front? Dan Orlovsky jumped in too, and he didn't just question Stefanski, he blasted him straight up. On live TV, Orlovsky demanded to know why Sanders remains glued to the sideline with zero opportunity to show what he's got. If Kevin Stefanski really believes Sanders isn't ready, Orlovsky said, then he owes the fans a detailed explanation backed by hard evidence, not vague press conference lines. And here's the kicker: Shedeur has already delivered the proof himself. In preseason games, he flashed composure, skill, and that rare ability to stay cool under pressure. Those performances don't lie, and they shut down every excuse being tossed around by the coaching staff. Orlovsky made it loud and clear. The time for hiding is over. Stefanski needs to put Sanders on that big stage and let him silence the doubters once and for all. Prove to me you can't do it, Orlovsky demanded, throwing down the gauntlet. And just when you thought the criticism couldn't get any heavier, NFL legend Eric Dickerson stepped in.
You trade Shedeur Sanders. You clearly are not sold on him right now. You're not sold on the progress that he's making, even though you're saying, hey, we're happy with where he's at.
I'm going to be livid if it goes down by the...
And he's pulling no punches about what's really going down in Cleveland. Eric Dickerson didn't bite his tongue. He went straight for the heart of the issue, claiming Shedeur Sanders isn't being sidelined because of performance, but because of something way deeper: race. In a fiery interview, Dickerson dropped a bomb, saying this isn't about white players versus black players. No, he insisted. When it comes to Shedeur and his father Deion, there's a bigger, uglier system at work. Something that doesn't want to see powerful black figures rising too high in the NFL spotlight.
Oh, they're not ready to play. That has nothing to do with the player. It has to do with their readiness to see them. The readiness to see them.
These weren't just casual comments. Dickerson's words hit like a warning siren. He painted the situation as more than football politics, calling it what it is: racism at its core. According to him, it's a calculated force designed to mute, minimize, and undermine men like Shedeur and Deion Sanders. Two names too big, too influential, and too unapologetic for the league's comfort. The backlash grew so loud that the Browns couldn't stay quiet anymore. Bill Musgrave stepped up, scrambling to calm the storm. He tried to put a positive spin on it, explaining that both Sanders and Dillon Gabriel are being developed behind the scenes, supposedly getting steady reps and hands-on coaching every step of the way.
Are not ready. you don't want to ruin them. You don't want to ruin them. And I've always thought to myself, where did that rationale come from? Where did the rationale come from that quarterbacks are delicate flowers?
Musgrave stressed that the staff is all in on Shedeur's growth and that the plan is to unleash him when the moment is perfect. But fans weren't buying it. They'd heard enough vague promises. The Browns kept preaching patience, but every week Sanders sat while the team's offense crumbled. The frustration just boiled hotter. Musgrave's reassurance sounded more like damage control than truth, and people could smell it a mile away. Meanwhile, Kevin Stefanski was feeling the walls close in fast. With every lackluster performance, the whispers turned to roars. Stefanski's job could be on the chopping block if he didn't make a change soon.
It's different for us. He's gonna say that, black players, we can't speak out like some of the white players. Nothing against the white players. It's not even about that. We both have the same struggles. I mean, we really do. So, it's just sometimes they want to make a statement, to show you that, you're not all that, I know they don't care for his dad. And I think Deion's a great guy. Deion tries to help these young men become men, not boys. And, I just felt like it was wrong what they did to him. I mean, look, Mel Kiper said in 30 years, he hadn't seen nothing like this.
The math was simple. If the Browns kept stumbling, Stefanski wasn't just risking the season. He was risking his own future with the team. Fans, analysts, and even people inside the organization were unified for once. The pressure was undeniable, and the clock was ticking. Something had to shift, and it had to happen fast. But instead of rolling the dice on Shedeur, Stefanski doubled down on Joe Flacco. And once again, it backfired. Flacco's play was flat, shaky, and nowhere near what the Browns needed to get over the hump. The only thing keeping them afloat, that defense. They went beast mode, locking down the Packers and keeping the game alive when the offense kept stalling out. Thanks to their elite-level grit, Cleveland squeaked out a narrow win, but make no mistake, that victory belonged to the defense. Flacco might have been under center, but it was the defense that carried the team on its back and dragged them across the finish line. The fire around Shedeur Sanders just won't cool down. It's only getting hotter. Fans and analysts are no longer just suggesting, they're demanding that Sanders finally get his shot. The push for the Browns to release him has turned into a full-on movement, with many insisting he's already proved he deserves playing time. And now a massive question looms. Should the Browns finally cut ties and let Sanders go while his market value is sky high? Whispers have turned into headlines. Teams like the Miami Dolphins are circling, showing heavy interest in snatching Sanders if Cleveland keeps holding him hostage on the bench. That's making it more and more likely that a trade could be brewing. Journalists and commentators are now asking the uncomfortable question, why keep a player you clearly don't plan to use? Especially one who other teams see as a future star. Fans are split between fury and hope. Some want Sanders to stay and finally be unleashed, while others are rooting for him to break free and shine somewhere else. A fresh start, they say, could be exactly what he needs to unlock his full potential, and Miami is sitting right there, ready to roll out the red carpet if Cleveland slips up. The Browns, though, are taking all the heat. Their decision to keep Shedeur glued to the sidelines is fueling non-stop debate across the NFL world. And the critics aren't just calling it bad coaching anymore. Some are flat out calling the Browns corrupt. Analysts and former players are accusing the organization of protecting the old guard at all costs, refusing to let young talent like Sanders touch the field out of fear they might expose how overrated some veterans really are. That's the scandalous angle turning heads, the idea that Cleveland would rather bury a rising star than risk their comfortable status quo getting shattered. Because let's be real, if Sanders got in and started balling out, what excuse would they have left for sticking with washed-up vets? None. And it's not just about football anymore. The debate has cracked open deeper conversations about how teams treat rookies, how they gatekeep opportunity, and whether there are darker systemic forces at play in the NFL. One thing's for sure, the Browns can't keep dodging this forever because the Sanders situation is reaching a boiling point that could explode any day now. The whispers of a Shedeur-Sanders trade aren't just rumors anymore. They're turning into real talk around the league. Behind closed doors, insiders are saying Miami isn't the only team keeping tabs on the young quarterback. The Jets, the Falcons, even the Raiders have reportedly asked about his status, sensing that Cleveland might be on the verge of a meltdown. If the Browns keep refusing to play him, they risk losing him to a franchise ready to hand him the keys to the offense. But here's the wild part. Word around the league is that Cleveland's front office is split. Some execs want to cash out while Sanders' value is high, while others fear the PR disaster of trading him away before he's even had a real shot. Imagine the optics if Sanders leaves, blows up on another team, and makes the Browns look like fools for keeping him benched. That's the nightmare scenario hanging over Cleveland right now. And the tension is spilling onto the field too. Joe Flacco's struggles have the fans restless, and every incomplete pass is met with chants for Shedeur. The locker room isn't immune either. Sources claim some players are quietly questioning why Sanders hasn't been given a single start, especially after watching his calm command and playmaking ability in preseason. The pressure is no longer just coming from outside, it's creeping inside the building. Meanwhile, the media firestorm is relentless. Former players on TV are calling the situation embarrassing for the Browns, with some straight up saying it exposes a culture of favoritism and fear. Social media is even harsher, with hashtags calling for Sanders' freedom trending every game day. Fans aren't just asking for answers, they're demanding change, and the Browns can't ignore the noise forever. And then came the bombshell, whispers that Deion Sanders himself might step into the conversation. Insiders say Coach Prime has been biting his tongue, but if he publicly calls out the Browns for mishandling his son, it could set off an earthquake across the NFL. Imagine the headlines if one of football's biggest icons goes to war with Cleveland. That's a storm they're not ready to weather. At this point, it's not just about whether Shedeur gets playing time, it's about power, politics, and pride. Every day the Browns stall, the situation grows more toxic, and the chance of a full-blown implosion gets higher. The league is watching, the fans are chanting, and the clock is ticking, because Shedeur Sanders isn't just sitting on the bench, he's sitting on a powder keg ready to explode. Eric Dickerson lit the match, and now the fire is blazing. This isn't just about football anymore. His raw critique cut straight to the bone, hinting that Shedeur Sanders' exile from the field might not be about readiness at all, but about race. Dickerson argued that the Browns' hesitation to let Shedeur shine reflects something much bigger. A system scared to empower young black stars who refuse to bow to outdated power structures. That's not just controversial, that's explosive. And now the Browns are cornered, staring down a decision that could define not just their season, but their reputation across the entire NFL. Their handling of Shedeur has become a lightning rod, sparking fierce debates about race, opportunity, and whether the league is truly ready to embrace new talent that challenges the old guard. The longer Sanders stays on that bench, the louder the outrage grows, and the harder it gets to hide behind excuses. This is no longer a question of, when will he play? It's a battle over what the Browns stand for. Are they a franchise committed to the future, or one too scared to upset their veteran comfort zone? Are they protecting experience, or holding back potential greatness out of fear it might expose how shaky their system really is? And here's the kicker. Could Dickerson be right? Could race be the shadow no one wants to acknowledge? The silent factor keeping Shedeur from touching the field? Fans, analysts, and former players are now demanding answers, and the Browns can't dodge it forever. The clock is ticking, the pressure is suffocating, and one thing's clear. Whatever decision Cleveland makes next will echo way beyond the stadium lights.